Welcome back to Division I Rejects. We've got the man overseeing the black turf from SportsCenter, Sports Illustrated, Front Office Sports, House of Highlights.
You name it.
Trevor, it's been everywhere. We've got the man, Ed Raby. He's the head coach at SUNY Morrisville, joining us tonight for this episode. If you want to fast forward right to that conversation, use the timestamps right at the bottom if you're watching on YouTube. Otherwise, Spotify, Apple Podcast listeners, welcome back to Division I Rejects. It's episode 112. Already gave it the guest. Tonight is July 20th. I'm joined by Milford football's finest in the chair on the right, Trevor Lee. You're going to sit there silently?
Yep.
Okay. Well, welcome back. We're going to talk with Coach Raby all about the Mustangs, SUNY Morrisville, and the Empire 8, Division III squad. And like I said, the black turf field they put in. We reacted to it a couple episodes back, And, Trev, not one to usually pat ourselves on the back, but we were on that shit first.
We were the first.
I think so. And were we the reason that it got out? Maybe, maybe not. We can believe it, though.
We will continue to believe it.
We absolutely will. Otherwise, on tonight's episode, we're going to talk about another Division III team, that being University of Wisconsin Whitewater, coming back to our team feature series, talk all about Warhawk football. That is a program that if you know anything about Division III football, you know about Whitewater, the success that they've had. And our last piece of small college ball talk tonight, that's kind of a tongue twister. Say that 5 times fast. Small college ball.
Small college ball.
Virginia Union, Division II team out of the CIAA. They just released some new uniforms on Twitter. We're going to take a look at that video, talk a little bit about them. The CIAA preseason rankings also just dropped today. So we'll have a lot of those media day type events going on the next couple weeks. We will react to those. Not a lot of surprises. Preseason rankings are pretty status quo, but we're still going to look at it because it's our job. So otherwise, NFL side of things, some more alternate uniforms dropped. We got the Colts, and the Seahawks.
They might be the best ones.
I think we can stamp that. And not only are the Seahawks potentially the best uniforms at alternate wise we've seen in the NFL, but the launch of said uniforms with the videos, the photos, they have a whole retro 90s website that coincided with the launch. Interactive.
I didn't know that.
We're going to take a look at it later in this episode. So, like I said, if you're watching on YouTube, use those timestamps bottom of the screen to fast forward to any part of the episode. I'm really excited about today, and that's because we already recorded the interview with Coach Raby, and he was awesome. So, I guess I already gave out all the plugs. Follow us on Twitter, D1_Rejects, on Instagram, at Division I Rejects, and subscribe. I need to add that to my list. We need more subscribers, and not even as a self-promo thing. I want to get to 1,000 subscribers so we can go live on YouTube and do live shows. That would be so electric. That'd be fun.
That would be
so
fun.
The only way we can do that is if we get to 1,000 subscribers. We're almost halfway there. If you're watching it, all it takes is a button. I'm not going to bug you every day. Please hit the button. That's enough self-indulging. Let's get to the conversation with Coach Raby. Joining the show tonight, head coach at SUNY Morrisville in New York, a former Alma Scott, a little bit of a Michigan tie, current overseer of the black turf that has internet trolls rolling over in their sleep. It's Coach Raby. What's going on, Coach?
Not much, man. How about yourself?
I am pumped to get you on here. We're also, Trevor and I are relieved that you did not melt when you went out on the field the other day. I didn't know if we were going to make this episode happen or not.
Yeah, I was a little worried, but it ended up being fine.
The 77 degrees just doesn't do it, does it?
No, it doesn't. That's actually the average. The average temperature in July here is 78 degrees. So
okay.
So it's about average.
I mean, Marquette is just about the same, man. We get an odd weekend here where it might get up into that 80 range, but that's about it. I mean, but just getting right into that and talking about that, did you and your staff and those people over there, did you have any inkling of what kind of reaction you're going to get when this announcement was made?
I think we knew there was going to be a reaction. I think it's social media. This is what people do on social media. They take it and they over exaggerate if it's a negative opinion. And I guess I'm not surprised by that aspect of it, but it's all good. People are more than able to have their own opinion. We've done our research on our end, and our school did its due diligence. So we're excited for it, and our players are excited for it.
Hell yeah. Now that we got the politically correct answer out of the way, we can continue. But you're 100% right. Like I don't want to take that away from you. That's the correct answer. It's what you're supposed to give. Now, someone made a note and pled their case on social media the other day this could be a home field advantage for you guys. I don't know what the difference is. You guys probably haven't been out there, but the analogy I made to Trevor was I read about this Chinese basketball team, and stay with me here, this Chinese basketball team that would play in this gym that they brought up to like 80, 90 degrees. And then when these other teams came in and they're pregame, they're like, this is going to be a long game. Now, it's hyperbole, it's exaggeration, but maybe a little bit of a home field advantage for the Stangs this year.
I don't know about that. I mean, I think I'm going to just say the coach talk right now, but the reality is the reality is colored turf is not going to win us any games. We got to go execute. So I think it's a great experience for our players, and definitely they'll be more used to it than the visitors, but we still got to go out and actually play ball.
Yes, exactly. And we'll get the ball soon enough. Trust me. But I mean, man, after you get on SportsCenter, I'm going to ask you a couple questions about this damn thing.
Oh yeah.
That was absurd. I mean,
it's crazy.
Crazy. I just know, I'm sitting on my golf course shift one morning, and I had tweeted at Pat McAfee, who's one of my biggest inspirations. And when he replied to me, I almost fell out of my cart. I got to imagine, I don't know what the visual was, what you were doing, but I have to imagine you scrolling through and just
yeah, the crazier part is just the amount of people that reached out that I haven't talked to, and people from high school.
He's big time now.
That I haven't talked to in a long time.
No.
They're like, okay, you guys got black turf. You're all over my feed. And, it's cool to see SUNY Morrisville, being talked about, in my opinion. I think it allows us to tell our story, but it's been a crazy 2 days. I mean, it's like you got house of highlights, or some people were telling me all the different people posting it. So it's a cool time to be a Mustang.
Hell yeah, man. And one thing that I think a lot of people were saying too is man, imagine that down in Arizona and in California where it's 110 degrees. Yeah, no shit. All right. And
right.
That's ridiculous. That is totally not the case. And like I said, I've been out to your neck of the woods a couple times. In Marquette, we deal with a very similar climate. I think it's tough for people to understand that geographically that you're facing elements in a totally different way up there. It's a totally different type of ball.
Oh yeah, it's kind of funny because our trainers are great, and they always, the trainers have a system with the NATA that has protocols in place for heat and cold. And I made a joke to one of my colleagues. I said, we've been talked about more about not being able to go out for spring ball because it's too cold than we've ever been talked about for heat. So I think we're over here. We're more worried about being able to get out for the spring ball practices because the snow is on the ground.
I love that. And absolute last bit on the field. This actually has nothing to do with it being black turf, but something that we noticed when we watched that initial video that the athletics department released is there's just a lot of lines, borderline plethora of lines out there. Obviously, a school like that, you guys have a lot of varsity programs, a lot of different sports. You got lacrosse and soccer and these other sports that need to use the field. But for some reason, maybe it's just the black turf and the way it comes off there. It just, I wouldn't imagine. You guys haven't been out there very much, but that won't be a hindrance to you guys and knowing any field position or anything like that.
No. I think it's, one of the things that doesn't get talked about is the reason turf up north in the northern states exists is because if you're at a smaller institution, to be able to maintain with the weather, 30 grass fields is very difficult to do. So that's one of the big reasons teams get turf. We've gone out there a couple of times. It actually, when you're on the field, it's hard to even tell of the lines.
Okay.
You can't even really, kind of similar to a green field that has a lot of lines, which our past field did. You really don't notice it when you're on the field. When you're up above, it does pop a little bit more because of the color.
Interesting. No, that makes a lot of sense. I get that. And I think, it is just literally the contrast. And it's me being a dumbass at sometimes and just picking apart videos that I see. But enough turf talk. All right, I told you we'd put it behind us relatively early. We can talk about your squad a little bit because that's what I really wanted to get you on here. You get we get our clickbait out of the way though, because that'll be what gets us the clicks.
Absolutely.
They come in for the turf,
click
coach.
On and watch it. That's right.
They come in for the turf and they stick around for the riveting football talk. That's the formula over here. So let's talk about your Mustangs. You've strung together some solid wins up there, right? And from an outsider's perspective, as everything is that comes out of my mouth in this show, rocky start in year one at the helm for you. But you come back in 2022 with a vengeance, it seems like, and a fire lit on somewhere underneath you. And you knock off Hobart at the beginning of the year. And, for someone who doesn't know that name and doesn't know your guys' schedule, they put a 41-point shutout on you guys in 2021. And you come out and knock them off the board in 2022. Was that just like a we've arrived moment for you and your staff? That had to be pretty incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a big win for us. It helped us kind of springboard us to a great start. We felt we had a good team. You always, in our league, it's kind of, and the MIAA is a really good league right now. I keep track of, but it's one of those things where every team can beat you in our league, and our non-conference schedule is tough. But prior the 2-8 season, you kind of mentioned that, we went through a lot of stuff with coach changes and things like that, and COVID, obviously.
Yep.
At the end of the year in 2021, we beat Brockport, and that win, I think, was critical for our team to realize, oh wow, this is a team that's won 3 out of the last 5 Empire 8 titles, and we had beaten them even when we probably weren't the most talented team, right? So that kind of springboarded us into a great offseason. And then to be able to come out and beat Hobart, which is a team that was top 25 and had beaten us 41-0 the year before, I think at that point, our guys realized that we had a special football team, and we were able to string some wins together and have a great season.
I love that. And I think that actually gets overshadowed a lot, is that end of the year and going into the offseason, especially for a team like you guys, like we've been in that situation, Trevor, our team, that, let's face it, had a kind of a shit year. But at the end of the year, if you can put together a win, especially if it's against some type of quality opponent like you just talked about, what that does for your confidence, for your morale into the offseason and heading into the spring ball and all the other things, I think is kind of immeasurable. Now, keeping on that 2022 season, even in the games you lost in that year, you look at the margins. The margins were so much closer, and that head shake is exactly, that proves my point exactly. You lose to Utica by 3, another quality squad, and at the end of the year, RPI by only 4. So I think that's a great test and a great measurement of an improving team, is that, you win some of these games that you weren't winning before, but even the ones that you lose are just that much closer.
Yeah, I think for our team going forward, that was a big, you don't want to, for us, it's like we could have been 10-1. I mean, if you go to the Brockport game, it's 3-3 in the fourth quarter, and we kind of crumbled at the end there. So, I mean, we were very close. We were, in my opinion, I'm not going to get too much into it, but in my opinion, we were a couple plays away from winning RPI and winning against Brockport.
Yep.
And we were a poor officiating decision away from beating Utica.
Hey, we got all day, Coach. You get into it.
I know I'm not going to get into that, but the point is, we were this close to 10-1. There was really only one team, in my opinion, that beat us in the sense that they were just better than us, right? The other teams, kudos to them. They're great football teams, and they executed better than we did, and that's the way football works. But we felt at the end of those games that we had let it get away. So that brought some motivation into our offseason this year. Our guys realized, hey, we're close. We're close, but we got to, every game in our league is going to be a tough, close game. So we got to be able to finish.
Hell yeah. This year is going to be all about finishing. Year 3 for you. And I was going to ask, is there any one thing that quantifies this year as a quote unquote success in your eyes? And looking into it, Morrisville joins the Empire 8 back in 2015, 2 years before you got there. They've yet to win a conference title. So that's got to be something. I'd imagine that's in big, bold text somewhere around that locker room.
It's actually, we don't really talk about that part much. I think the way that we approach it, and I think our guys want to be as successful as we can be. We want to win every game, and that's the reality of it. But the way we kind of approached last season and the way we're going to approach this season is our goal is to win the first game. So everything we've been doing since November at the end of last year's season is to win our first game. And that really helped us because, again, there's so many things that happen in a season that it's really hard. If you put this thing out there, what happens if that doesn't happen? You have to be able to have goals that you can readjust every week. We're a good football team. We're going to have a lot of close games, in my opinion. Let's focus on winning one game at a time and let the rest of it take care of itself. And that's the best way to approach football, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, I'm right with you, Coach. And totally ignore me on that, because if you did it and it worked in 2022, then do not let some pundit come on here and tell you to switch it up and make some new signage, because you absolutely don't need it. But I did want to talk a little bit about the ECAC, the Bowl Series. That was something that I try and do a little bit of my research, but I had never stumbled across that before. So talk a little bit about that in your game last year.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of cool because I played at Alma College, as you mentioned. And, when I was there, we didn't win as many games as I would like, but there wasn't really a bowl system over in the Midwest.
Yep.
When I went out to Alfred University, who's in the Empire as well, I was kind of shocked. Like at the end of the season, we were 6. I think we were 6-3, and we got a bowl game. I'm like, what's this? So out here, the ECAC, and there's a couple of leagues that have partnerships. They do bowl games, and I think it's great because in Division III football, there's like 240 plus teams. Only 32 teams make the playoffs. We're like the lowest percentage in terms of number of teams that make it. Mm-hmm. So having bowl games really helps when a team has a great season. They get another opportunity for the seniors, especially, right? You get one more game. And I've always thought that's the best part about the bowl games is you get teams that are good where their seniors can have one more time to go out with their team and have an experience. And if you win a championship. It's always good to win a championship.
Oh yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Wanted to touch on the defensive side of the ball because you're the head coach, but you are still in charge of the defense, correct?
Correct.
And I noticed too, just side note here, hang with me, that your actual staff itself very small, very
yes.
close-knit staff over there.
Yeah, it's a small staff, no doubt about it.
That list was what, 6, 7 guys?
Yeah, we have 9. We'll have 9 guys on the field, but
okay, good.
Yeah, we have a smaller staff than most teams. Yes.
Yeah. Hey, like I said, if it ain't broke, man, and you're doing all right. But you are in charge of the defense. In addition to your head coaching duties, you guys allowed the least amount of points in the Empire 8 last year. Averaging just over 11 per game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a pretty special group.
I mean, yeah. I was hoping for a little bit bigger reaction out of you there, Coach.
Oh, well, I mean,
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
I mean, it was a fun year. I mean, it was a great experience. I think, it was great because Morrisville, kind of the history, give you a little bit of a history lesson. Coach Fitz, who is now the head coach of Cortland, used to be the head coach here.
Okay, I did not know that.
And obviously they're in our league, but I always tell people all the time, listen, our foundation was built by Coach Fitz. We already had, our seniors last year, even though they were 2-8 the year before, we had winning seasons in 2018 and 2019. So it's not like we didn't have guys that knew how to win. But Morrisville's always been known for its offense. And now I like that the fact that when I came in 2017, we've been able to build each year defensively to a point where now when you think of Morrisville, you think of offense, defense, special teams. It's not just, one side of the ball that's dominating. So it was a special year. We had some really good football players on the defensive side of the ball that had us play a style of game, and we would slow the game down because, if we could have lower possession games and we knew we were going to stop teams every possession, then we could win those close ones against some teams. So it was a special group. We got to replace some really good players on that group. I think we lost four all conference guys, and 3 of them were linebackers. So
that hurts.
We've got to replace those guys, but we have a great group coming back. We have over 8-9 guys that played a lot of snaps from that defense. So we're excited to see if we can even improve on it.
And I think the most impressive is probably actually not even that stat, but it's the stat that predates that, is the fact that the year before, you guys were second to worst in the conference. And now your conference isn't full of 25 teams. It's not some type of miracle jump, but it is still incredibly impressive to go from that point in the conference to being the top dog just in that stat, as that is regarded. But either way, man, I think that's extremely impressive. But one other stat that I saw, because I'm a stat guy. I mean, you have to be. You guys let up only 9 sacks in 11 games last year. Is that a typo?
No, it's not. I mean,
holy cow.
Our O-line did a great job, and we got a quarterback our quarterback's really good. I mean, he's a great player, and he can get out of trouble. He's a good runner. He's a physical runner. So that helps too. When you get into trouble, a guy can take off and gain some yards. So I mean, we had a great season protecting the quarterback, and hopefully we can keep doing that.
Yeah. What are the thoughts from the guys right now getting ready to go out on spring ball? There might be a couple drones flying over to see that black turf in action.
Well, I'm sure our school's got drones going over. Our guys are excited for camp. I think that, one of the great things about the turf, going back to the turf, is that it just adds another layer of excitement. Everyone's always excited to come back for camp, but now there's another layer, and it gives our guys a great, unique experience. I've been telling people all along the goal is not to win games because of the turf. The goal is to give your student athletes a unique experience. And you guys, sounds like you guys play too, right? So part of the college experience is doing things that some people never do, right? Having the opportunity to do things that are unique and be with your buddies that are going to be best friends the rest of your life. and be able to 20 years from now say, hey, we were the first guys to play on black turf. So it's not necessarily even just about, it's not about the winning part. It's in the turf part. It's about the experience. And now I get to be on your show, and our AD gets to do interviews, and we can tell the story of SUNY Morrisville, which is a great place with great academic programs and just a great family atmosphere.
Oh yeah. I love it. I love it, man. That's good. And I, in our little video I posted, I was ripping you guys because no visitor stands over there.
Oh yeah, it was funny that we.
Now I did follow up on that. The home side might be the best in the country as far as like fan seating goes.
It's pretty nice. We gotta, it's when you said that we were dying.
Let's go.
In some ways it makes us feel like, okay, we're the villains that don't give anybody.
I love that.
But
because of
the reality is that the field is on, like right next to our school is an elementary school.
Okay.
Right? And so there's a field over there that the elementary school owns. So there's really no space to put visitor stands. So they have to sit on the home sideline. But yeah, if you look at we have a suite up at the top of our press box.
Oh, I saw them.
That we use for recruiting, and we have a great facility. So yeah, it was funny when you said it, because we were like, man, we got to take that and run with it and say we're the villains for that.
I was talking about how the conference championship is going to be up in the locker room. They might put one of my quotes in there just to piss everybody off before the game or something. But it did remind me actually of, I had mentioned to you before we got talking that I've been out to Ithaca a couple times. Well, yes. I actually went out there for a camp at Cornell. And so when you think about their setup, and with, is it Olympia Field or Stadium?
I'm not sure the name, but it's
something along those lines. But you know what I'm talking about. It almost looks like a coliseum on one side of the field with one of the largest stands I've ever seen, and the other side is just the press box. Now, the great part about that, Coach, and I'm a media guy, so I think about this immediately. You tell every single one of your camera guys, do not film from the home side. Please film from the other side where you can see every single one of these fans at this game. And that, I'm just spitting out free game here for your creative department, but.
Yeah, I mean, we got a great photo in the background here with the fans,
They get it. They get it. They don't need my advice, Coach. They got it. But that's all I got for you, Coach. I cannot thank you enough. This has been great. I hope you have enjoyed it as much as I have. We really appreciate you coming on here tonight, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for having us on. We're more than excited, and hopefully we can come on again maybe sometime in the future.
After you guys have the 2023 that I know you'll have, we will be having another conversation.
Awesome.
All right.
Thanks.
Sweet, Coach.
Appreciate it.
We'll see you. Have a good night. Thank you to Coach Raby. That was awesome. Really enjoyed that conversation with him. Trevor, you said it right when we finished. Like, just straight up football guy.
He's just a football guy.
And we already had our football guy piece earlier in the week, but Coach Raby,
maybe he'll be my football guy of the week next week.
He might be. He might be.
be.
After this episode gets hella pub, and he's everywhere because he's the man.
Yes.
I think we'll have to bring that back for sure. But we're going to stick in the Division III side of things before moving on. And the team that we wanted to talk about today is in the WEAC, that being the UW Whitewater Warhawks. Again, I'm all with the tongue twisters today a little bit. The Warhawk team, for those of you, again, who, I don't know, maybe live under some type of rock, but if you're new to the Division III football, they won national championships in 2007, 09, 10, 11, and then again in 14. They've not claimed the trophy since, but they did make it to the semifinals in 2021, lost to UMHB, who won it all that year, I believe, against North Central. Sorry, that's a little bit different division. This team, though, I say all that just to say, like, this team has had a huge resume of success, and in semi-recent history, the tradition over there and the standard certainly has not fallen at all, but before we get into any of that, Trevor, you know what we're going to look at first, don't you? I'll take that as a negative. But
their unreal stadium?
Yeah, their stadium is absolutely unreal. It's insane, dude. We put this in our post, actually, if you don't follow us on Instagram or Twitter, as one of the top 5 Division III stadiums in the country. Now, we didn't rank them. Maybe we should go back at one point and actually rank them. But this certainly had to make our list. And I know, first of all, that's a ginormous grandstand. But the thing that stands out to me is that it looks like it's in a bowl.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. It's definitely. And I think any stadium that's like in a bowl, like naturally, like, well, probably wasn't natural. They probably designed it that way.
I think there are both. Like, there are some that are man-made. Is that the correct? Yeah.
But I just think any stadium that's made like a bowl looks amazing. Like,
not only does it look amazing, but I actually think when you talk about the structure of the stadium, and I shoot a little video, I know a little audio, but I'm no sound engineer. I think when you have that concave, that crowd noise is sticking right in there. That environment is so much more like, you know what I'm doing with my hands.
Yeah. Well, like from a much smaller scale, but going back to Milford.
Okay.
Our rival, Lakeland High School, they had like a bowl-shaped stadium, and it always felt so much louder than it should have been. You know what I'm trying
Considering
to say?
that Lakeland had nobody show up to their games, huh?
I wish that was true. But,
I was trying to help you out there, rivals and shit.
But yeah, they beat me every year I was in high school. But anyways, they were bowl shaped, and it always seems like it's so much better for a stadium wise, and it feels more.
Yeah, what's the word? We're both missing it right now.
We are like
it's almost intimate. It's almost like
you're more in the moment.
Yeah. Okay. We roll with that.
Yeah. Maybe we need a better word, but
we do. But their stadium, I mean,
Bull's good,
dude. Bull is good. And Trevor, we had the aerial shot. I have one shot from the field. Oh my goodness,
those stands are huge.
They really are. Nice little press box up there, right up top, 34 conference championships. Looks like that top level, there's some press, but also you have kind of those, there might even be some suite type deal on the top right there. I'm not sure what's going on, but when you talk about just an absolute quantity of fans and just turnout at games, I have to imagine this is one of their better ones from one of those seasons where they were making a run to the Natty. Oh my goodness, man. Division III, D2, D1, I don't care. That is a turnout. That's really impressive. I love that, dude. I love it. But we can continue. We always start with the facilities because I think that's a fun thing to just start with. And when you go to Whitewater, the facilities speak for themselves. That is the locker room.
Look how open it is.
Like at Division III University. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Holy shit. I don't even know what to say. Like, like you said, it's extremely open.
Yeah.
The actual, like, just the art, the graphics.
And natural sunlight in it appears.
I was about to say, like, I wasn't going to say the sunlight, but the planning, right? Yeah. Like the planning of just like the space itself. You could tell that this was definitely a predetermined thing. Now, the one thing I will point out is homie in the middle of the screen there, this is a long exposure picture, and it looks like he walked in front of the camera at the wrong time. So he's got like a little apparition in front of the, do you see that?
I didn't even notice that at first. That's funny.
So the way that works with cameras, I'll school everyone here a little bit, is that when you press a camera button and hear that click, that's actually the shutter closing on the camera. And so that's how long the shutter is open is how much light is let into the actual sensor. In a long exposure picture, that shutter stays open for a longer period of time. And what happens if you move around in that is that you get motion blur like crazy. Or in this case, it was open for so long that dude just walked in front of the camera at the wrong time. I'm really surprised this made its way onto the internet. And dude didn't just retake the shot.
Where they have a friendly ghost in their locker room.
Or this wasn't a long exposure. I'm a phony, and that is, I don't know, Wally the Warhawk.
Yep.
That's definitely not his name. I don't know his name. I don't know the mascot's name.
Wally. Just made it up on the fly.
Okay, I kind of did. But even better than I have, if I can get the audio off it here, even better than pictures. What does it more justice than a couple photos of the facilities? We got a little bit of a tour here of the Whitewater facilities because why not, basically, right? And I will pull this up right now because there are some really good little bits in this video, and I wanted us just to take a look at it before we talk a little bit more about their stats. Trevor, first of all, hell of a drone shot right there. Pound the rock coming out to the field, absolutely sick. That is their head coach of the university. Whoever's on the drone, by the way, kudos. I mean, those shots are awesome.
I like their uniforms, too, by the way.
Yeah. Crisp, pretty simple.
Yeah.
Purple does clash a little bit, helmet to jersey, a little bit different. Man, that another view at that stand, dude, just incredible.
This is a sweet video.
They knock it out of the park over there at Whitewater, man. By the way, interview with all the trophies in the background.
Oh, now panning to the trophy.
Now we just go right to it. Hey, why not? If you win all of them, I'd be putting them in an interview, too. Now we get into some of the facilities here, and you're going to see, like, this place, I'm not going to say does it like no other, but damn close, dude. I don't know a lot of teams at this level that have this dedication to their facilities, everything down to even the meeting rooms here. Like, the fact that there's football helmets in there shows you, like, this is a football-dedicated meeting room, which is really sick. That's a Shark Tank?
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Don't know what that means, but
I don't know. There you go, dude.
Look. I'm just impressed about how big it is. Like,
we're going to rewind that. That locker room is spectacular. How many kids they got on this damn team? That's so sick. Oh, my God.
Wow.
Oh, whoa. What is it? Are those massage chairs? They're just like comfy. They're just like a comfy spot.
They might just be comfy spots.
Either way, man.
Look at that.
That is something special. That is real special. There's a bunch of the national championship teams.
Warhawks.
We'll talk a little bit about their pro alumni here in a little bit. But, man, I mean, you can just see, like, this program has been around a long time. They've been winning for a long time. The tradition, the history, and the freaking tubs at this place.
I don't know if I'd use them right now in
Nope.
video. But
Babe, you know what? Yeah. But still.
it's lacking something. But
It is, it's a tub without what should be in a tub.
Yep, but
We scrubber dubbed up.
it's still impressive.
All
I was
right.
trying to say nevertheless, but that was a hard word for
I
me.
think either way, I think we got a good glimpse at all of the stuff from the Warhawks. Now we can talk a little bit more on the football side of things. Don't worry, we don't just watch videos and look at pictures here on this show. But Trevor, let's go and start back in the past, 2022 for UW Whitewater. And the biggest thing for them starting in 2022, you'll see they come out here. They lose their first game to St. John's, quality opponent, and then they have their home opener against Mary Hardin Baylor. And that is a squad that went on, we know, to have, they've been, each year they've made deep runs into the playoffs, but right away, you come back from that opening loss and you beat UMHB at your place. That was a big one for them, and it looks like that got them on the right track because you go through the rest of the league here as they get into conference play a little bit later in the WIAC and win. This was the game that surprised a lot of people. UW Platteville, they lose to them 13-17. About 3 quarters into the season, you're into the heart of WIAC play right there.
Yeah.
Platteville, that was one of the bigger upsets in Division III last year, and they still made it into the playoffs, don't get me wrong, the Warhawks did, but certainly threw a wrench into their seeding and probably scared them at the time as far as the conference play is concerned, because you see how tight of a game against River Falls was just the following week, 30-27. We talk about winning margins with Coach Raby, and this conference has some of the tightest margins at Division III level. I mean, some of these wins right here, you look right there, 34-31 against La Crosse. A little bit bigger against Eau Claire. Oshkosh, always going to be a tight game. They lose that Platteville game, win by 3 against River Falls. A 1-score game against Stout. And then, man, Stevens Point just got some pent-up aggression. Hey, man, sometimes you're just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yep. 79 to 10
That
is
hurts.
bad.
That really hurts.
They weren't slowing down at all.
No
It's not easy to score 79 points.
It's actually like it's like
regardless who you're playing, 79 points that's a basketball score.
it absolutely is. But we can talk more about their team before we look into their 2023 schedule and preview that a little bit. A big theme you'll see here from the Warhawks as we continue to talk about them is that they're losing some pretty big-time contributors, especially in the offensive side of things, also defensively too, but they lose their starting quarterback, Evan Lewandowski. He was a dog in 2022, and I'll bring up his stats here to kind of illustrate a little bit of what he did for this team. Looking at his stats from this past season, he also looks like he did some like punting or kicking for them, which is kind of funny here. But looking through this, 200 completions. He had over 2,300 yards and 18 touchdowns. That's a really big year. The one part of his game that did struggle, though, is 12 interceptions. He had 4 of them against Wisconsin Platteville. So we go back to that game.
That makes a lot more sense.
Exactly.
It's
that
hard to
game
win
was
with
huge.
At least 4 turnovers.
Dude, 4 turnovers?
Yeah.
How are you even in? Like, that's the only reason they would have been in that game.
Yeah.
Looking at kind of the rest of the squad, though.
I guess it's impressive, though, that their defense still held them to 17 points.
Because you got to think, I don't have them right in front of me, but like obviously an interception is an interception, but an interception in the red zone versus on your own 15 is very different. So like, what were the field position on those?
You would guess at least one of them is not in Whitewater's favor, field position wise.
Absolutely, yeah.
Even we don't have it right in front of us, like you said, but
yeah. I don't have to look into that. But another quarterback alum, not someone who they're just recently losing. He was a starting quarterback for the Green Bay Blizzard this year. Kind of a new one. I know we don't talk about, that's an indoor league. Max Mailer and I'll throw up.
Like arena.
Yeah,
football?
I believe it is. But first season with the Blizzard, he ends up becoming the starting quarterback after being the backup. And if you look at these pictures, dude, on his profile, I'll pull it up here for you. Look at the ball in these pictures.
Huh. Looks like a ball I'd get as like
Look
a
at
little
that,
kid.
right?
Yeah.
Also, Teddy Two Glove in it
Wow.
out there.
Maybe
That's a sick picture.
Maybe it's that ball. That's why.
The ball is just in shambles. But, oh, dude, that's sick. The all-white uniform with the white ball.
That is pretty sweet.
That looks badass, dude. These jerseys. By the way, Blizzard is just a dope, in my opinion, just a really dope team name.
It's so unique.
I think that's pretty sick.
Yeah, that's cool.
I also love, like, the singular team names for whatever reason. Like, I think that's really cool.
Like Blizzard and
Like, say anything that doesn't end in S, I guess, is kind of what I'm trying to say. But
it's different.
it is. Totally is. But back to the current guys, the guys on this roster. The leading wide receiver, Tyler Holt, he graduates, but they still have Stephen Hine, who will be a junior in the fall. Could be certainly a breakout year for him. And the wide receiver position is very interesting in that when you have that top dog leave, it could mean one of two things. It means potentially the guy below him now has all the opportunity in the world to go out and break all of his records from last year. But what it could also mean is that the defense's attention shifts from one playmaker to another.
Right.
So always very interesting to see that dynamic. Remember that name. Remember that Hine name here, because on the defensive side of things, Ryan Liska, the leading tackler, he graduates. But Egon Hine, that sound familiar?
Yes.
He can and has been, a solid leader for this defense. The brothers playing for Whitewater. That to me was probably one of the biggest stories that I found.
Who's older? Do you know?
Damn it, Trevor, I don't know actually.
Good.
You want to find out for me?
I just had to talk about the names really quick.
Yeah, no, you're going to name one kid a normal name like Egon, and then you come out of the blue, out of left field with Steven.
It's just like, was Egon the older one? And they're like, we just went way too crazy. We're just going with Steven.
Play it safe. Oh, no. Oh, I love it. I love it. But, like, in all seriousness, like, the Hine brothers, man, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. They are going to be filling some big shoes on either side of the ball this year. You could have a Hine brother leading the offense and leading the defense in their respective positions. And I think that was kind of one of the biggest stories for me. That's something we're certainly going to follow as far as the D3 football scene goes, because, I mean, that's awesome. How many times in sports do you have that? In 2022, actually, Whitewater had 4 brother duos that played on the same team together in their respective sports. They had 2 wrestlers, the Fortugnos. They had basketball players, the Barnstables. Football had 2 pairs. The Hines also playing along the Colts brothers.
That's pretty awesome.
4 different pairs of brothers playing on the same teams.
It's crazy.
That's incredible. I think that's really cool. But we can look back now at the WEX standings. How about that from last year before we go into the 2023 schedule, Trevor? This is a look at how they finished last year. You'll see lacrosse ends up winning both co-champions, correct? But what's actually interesting about that, and I know it's far away for you to kind of read, but next to lacrosse, it has that asterisk, and they're just a co-champion. But under Whitewater, there's that little caret or the arrow, whatever you call it, and it's a co-champion and an NCAA automatic qualifier, which was very interesting to me because lacrosse had a better record. They were 9-2 as opposed to 8-3. Overall, they were both 6-1 in conference. I'm not sure actually how that is determined. I would like to know.
That is really odd.
Because how do you go and finish technically second, I don't know, in the conference as it looks, even though you're a co-champion, I guess, so maybe not. You're not second. And you get the bid as opposed to lacrosse, who had the better overall record.
They have a better point differential?
I'm going to say there has to be a tiebreaker or something in the conference. There has to be. And then, so just kind of interesting there. It was a kind of a note that I wanted to touch on. But finally, for the Warhawks, the 2023 schedule for them has been released, as have, I hope most of college football, because we're starting the season here pretty damn shortly. We can take a look at that before we move on. And the first 3 games, pretty similar to last year's slate, except they do open at John Carroll. Their home openers against St. John's. And that St. John game, I mean, really.
They lost to St. John's last year, right?
They did. You look at week 2 through 6, that is a gauntlet.
That really
that is an absolute gauntlet for the Warhawks.
It's the top other 3 teams in the WEAC. I'm saying that right, correct?
I think so. We'll probably get ripped for it, but I'm saying WEAC. So let's just both run with it.
Okay, WEAC. But those are
We're GLIAC boys over here.
Those are the three other teams that are contenders, I'd say.
I would totally agree with that. Lacrosse being the obvious one. River Falls is certainly up there. They have some hype around them. And Oshkosh, I just think it's been really solid through the last couple of years. No shots at Stout, Eau Claire, or Platteville, who obviously got the best of them last year.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, that week, what I say, 2 through 6 right there, that is an absolute gauntlet. Not to take anything away from John Carroll. John Carroll actually, I believe, made our top 25 preseason rankings with the College Football Network. They're going to be a squad, not a conference game for them. That is going to be a tough one. So
it's going to be a big test, really. They're
1 through what, 6?
7.
Their first 6? 2,
4. Yeah, 6.
Yeah. Holy shit, man.
I'm saying it's a test, but I'm like, if you don't win them, or at least most of them, you're not going to the playoffs.
Ain't no test. You failed the test. You don't
it's
advance.
Not just the test. That's your season.
It is. So, I mean, that's 6 games, too. It's a big bulk of it. But, I mean, looking at this record, that was my biggest takeaway is that you have 3 really quality out-of-conference opponents.
In Division III, they might have the toughest schedule in all
I would
of Division
certainly
III.
throw them in that category because being in the WEAC, you're already in the conversation.
And then your 3 out-of-conference are really
UMHB, St. John's, and John Carroll, man. And I think we've talked about it a lot on this show, but when you have a solid program, a great sign of a program that knows they're going to be good is when you schedule these tough-ass out-of-conference games. You don't schedule those games if you know you're going to go in there and get your ass kicked and walk out of there with your tail between your legs.
Right.
Absolutely not. So I take that into account when I look at these schedules because you know coaches have a good sense, more than anyone, of how the team is going to perform this year. You go out and schedule these kind of games when you know you're going to be in and win those kind of games. You schedule those back to back to back. Really impressive. So we talked about that first 6. They round that out. A couple home games here against Stout, Platteville, Stevens Point, and Eau Claire to close things out. And again, no shots taken at these squads. Those are the 4 lightest teams on their schedule, back to back to back to back. It certainly won't be a bye week into the playoffs, but this team, assuming they make it out of that gauntlet, should be coasting into round 1.
I'm sorry, but who decided the schedule, though?
That's a great question.
I mean, if I was Whitewater, I'd want to space it out a little, maybe.
Yeah. That'd be like us being like, give me Grand Valley, Ferris, Davenport, Sac. Wait a minute, we have done that. Yeah.
Hold on a second.
Wait a minute, that sounds really familiar, doesn't it? Oh, but seriously, kudos to them. I'm very excited to see what they do this year because that schedule, man, if anyone's going to do it, it's Whitewater.
Exactly.
We can move on, though. We've got some uniforms. We're not talking NFL quite yet, Trevor.
Okay.
Let me pull up the video to react to here.
Would you say this is Virginia State?
No. New uniforms for Virginia Union.
Virginia Union.
D2 team out of Richmond in the CIAA. They went 9-2 last year. So certainly some great play going on behind this. But we're not talking so much about their play and their stats today. We're just taking a look at these uniforms because this video was pretty sweet that they put out. Kind of like a little horror vibe. Love the chrome. The chrome helmet is a good look.
Sweet.
We've taken a look at a lot of matte helmets, I think, recently on this show. So chrome is kind of a good switch up.
Immediately reminds me of Louisville chrome.
It does.
Helmets.
Absolutely does. By the way, that's dangerous standing on top of that thing in cleats. Am I just thinking that? That looked kind of ridiculous. I might have to I might pause that again when we get back to it. I love like this kind of like lightning vibe, but hold on.
It's kind of cool how they did it. Like, yeah, that seems really
Guys, yeah, what are we? That first of all, that thing doesn't even look that damn stable. It looked like it might just wobble over if one guy was way heavier.
Does it look really high up too? Like,
well, think about it. How tall are those guys? Those guys are probably around 6 foot at least.
They're either 4 or 5 or they're normal sized people.
I think we're gonna go with normal sized people.
And that's a really tall ladder.
Yeah, not to take away from how sweet this video is, guys, but what are we doing up there? How did you get up there?
Did they have a ladder?
Like,
it is pretty sweet though, like a jersey reveal that's like outside. Like,
yeah,
it's pretty unique, I think.
I mean, the logo and the art is really cool.
Yeah,
like it's absolutely sick. I'll play it one more time for the people watching on YouTube here. Kind of this like lightning vibe. Love how the chrome looks in that lighting. Like it's just so clean.
They did a good job with this video. Like,
they absolutely did. It looks good. Yeah. It looks solid. I would play the music, but I'm sure I'd probably get copyright striked. So we're going to just leave the audio up to your imaginations. Or you can check it out on Virginia Union's Twitter because that's where I just, took it from. That was kind of funny. Lombardi Street is also pretty dope. I wonder what the tie-in is with that. I'm not actually sure. But those are the uniforms for, I believe they are the Panthers,
Yes.
I want to say.
That's what their uniform says, so.
Oh, it did?
Yeah. That would be my guess, that they're Panthers, but I'm not 100% sure.
Maybe I should use my eyes next time.
Yeah. But
that's pretty bad.
Live and you learn, right?
They do. You hope. You live. You just got to learn. But we'll talk a little bit about their conference, the CIAA, a conference we honestly have not talked a whole lot about on this particular program. They released their 2023 preseason coaches poll and all CIAA team. The defending champion, Fayetteville State, we talked about them a little bit. They actually had one of their alum from last year, Trevor, was on the Chiefs and got himself a ring. Pretty sweet. That's D2, a safety out of there. Blanking on his name off the top of my head. Excuse me for that. But Virginia Union picked third in the predicted order here from the conference. Fayetteville State number 1, Bowie State number 2, and then Virginia Union behind those two. Really two quality opponents in front of them. And actually a pretty wild stat here. 2023 marks the 5th straight season the Broncos and the Bulldogs were picked first in their respective divisions. Wow. Bowie State is in the North Division, and then Fayetteville State is in the South. So they were picked first, respectively, in the North and South. For the 5th year in a row?
That's crazy.
It's really consistent. That's good. I mean,
or they're just... Have they been 1 and 2, I wonder, for the past 5 years?
Probably, right? Because let's think about it. Usually,
I was gonna say
preseason,
it's either really lazy preseason polls, or that's just
how it is.
Just how it is.
I mean, I know our GLIAC poll will be releasing very soon here, but I
do know both of those programs are very good.
Yeah, totally.
And they have been for a while.
Totally. And I think a lot of what the preseason poll is, what did you do last year? But these coaches, the ones that are doing these polls, they know what's going on in the offseason. They know if you've got big changes or if you're losing big-time players, whatever. So you definitely will see teams move around. It's not like you have idiots like us just going out here and making random numbers next to teams, right?
We're not idiots, but...
No, you're right. Damn right.
We're close, but...
I got asked, actually, to do preseason polls for conferences in our Instagram DMs. And I basically said, hey, I would love to. But I don't have enough time to look at every team and do the research necessary to make rankings.
We want to do the research. We don't just want to guess.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because then we would be idiots.
Yeah.
We would be idiots. So then he was like, why don't you just do a GLIAC one? And I'm like, because then I would have 8 other kids like you DMing me for preseason polls in their conference. But jokes aside, sweet jerseys from Virginia Union, and we can move on to some other jerseys. This time, the pro level. We'll start with the Colts because I'm excited about the Seahawks. So we'll go with the Colts first, Trev. I don't have as much to talk about on them, but just we'll kind of react to just their look here. And my beef with these jerseys, as I pull them up on the screen, just plain. BYU called, they want their look back.
You got to remember, first of all, this is the Indianapolis Colts. Name a time that they've had a better jersey than that jersey right there. Can you name one?
Very valid point.
You can't name one, Kobe.
That's a valid point.
So you need to think about what team you're looking at first. Then you can talk.
First of all,
I think they look good. I think
they do.
Yeah, it's not anything crazy. My only complaint is they have the black helmets. Why don't you have a little black on the jerseys of some sort?
That's a great question.
Why don't you have a black stripe, black stripes down the, or something something.
He's even wearing black sleeves to try and augment.
See, that looks that looks good because he was wearing the black sleeves, but not every single person is going to wear black sleeves on their team.
Especially when you have that much white in the uniform.
Or wear
black
black socks or something.
Does he have black socks on, or is that the part of the cleat? I think it's part of the cleat, correct?
It's part of the cleat, I think.
Yeah, because those blue socks are like the wave, those big scrunchy ones.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That would be my biggest complaint, but I think they look good. They're one of the, I guess, worse alternate uniforms we've seen this year, but
to be fair, the bar is pretty high. Yeah, especially after we see these next uniforms, the bar is pretty freaking high.
Right.
Because the alternates is where these teams can get out of their comfort zone a little bit, and that's probably why I was expecting a little bit something more flamboyant, is because the rules are a little lessened. Yeah. Because you're not wearing these every week, so you can be a little bit more creative and have a little bit more of that pizzazz. You know what I mean?
Yeah, pizzazz, sure.
Pizzazz. Let's look at the real alternate unis here, Trevor. That being from the Seattle Seahawks. And before we even look at any pictures of the uniforms themselves, I just want to take a second to appreciate this launch video that they put out on their Twitter, because Like, you'll see. I guess I just
I haven't seen this video.
Let the video do the talking, and we'll talk about it while we watch it here. The absolute aesthetic, they're going for that, that 80s, 90s more so aesthetic.
Yeah.
Look at this. This is a fully built out set. Someone spent a lot of time on this. Even all the colors are down, the technology.
This is awesome.
Watch this. Takes off the covers. In full uniform with cleats on. Jackson Smith and Jigba.
It's crazy.
Absolutely
He's been featured on a
hilarious.
lot of stuff for the new uniforms.
Yes.
He's a rookie, which is kind of surprising.
Even down to the music, throwing the gloves on. And I mean, we'll continue to watch this video, but just looking, I think the biggest thing that stands out right away, strictly talking about the uniforms, is the color palette is so clean. A little bit different green than what we're used to from the Seahawks.
Looks like I'm watching like Full House right now.
Exactly. Like you're in the kitchen.
Like really like in the 90s.
He just took a little bite out of his Eggo waffle. Ma's doing the dishes. I'm out into the garage with the boys.
This is sweet.
Dude, like, just kudos to their team. There is so much work that went into this whole launch. And watch this, too. A little detail here. I'm going to pause it, actually, when he opens this door. Now, a lot of people probably didn't even notice this. That's not even, like, Seahawks Stadium. That's their old stadium.
Oh, no way.
That is I'm blanking, totally blanking. Excuse me, Seahawks fans. I'm totally blanking on the name of it. They had to go through and like recreate that and then edit him into. So he's just walking into a green screen right now, basically, is what's happening. But the fact, the dedication to like, they just nailed the entire aesthetic.
This might be the coolest uniform reveal I've ever seen. Like the time they had to put into this. You know what I mean?
100%.
Like it did not take overnight. They got this set put together and
this thing was in the works for potentially months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
absolutely.
sweet.
So, I mean, I'll finish out the video though. He just walks in, a little bit of a logo action. And there's your video, dude. But I mean, it's just incredible. And like hats off to them, their creative team. It was so sick. And then what I'll do next actually is just pull up their whole Twitter feed. Because looking at even just their profile right here, I mean, the dedication to this whole launch is absolutely awesome. You have the banner image, the profile, all back to that retro.
They should just go back to these colors permanently.
Like, check this out, dude. I'll go right to the media. That way
is that a hot take saying that?
I don't know, dude. I don't even know if it is because I want it too.
Yeah.
Look at this picture. This is so sick, dude. I mean, going down there.
K9.
The amount, yes, dude. The amount of content they've already produced. Those helmets are so crisp. Look at this. Is a CD?
So sweet.
Can't wait to play this week 8. This is incredible, dude. And I just wanted to pull up their feed because there's no way I could just pull up all this. This is what we're going to look at next. Their interactive throwback website. We'll take a look at that in a second. But just the quality we've already talked about. Having quality is one thing, but having quantity on top of it is another.
Yeah,
they have been putting out a continued surplus of amazing
and it's not just
content.
like one player like I thought. Like I originally just saw. I saw DK and Smith and Jigba.
Yep.
But I didn't realize that basically it's basically like their whole team.
They got the whole roster involved. It's incredible.
Look at this.
Like, dude, this set is so badass, dude. Can we take a second to appreciate this? We might have to be stealing some ideas. Oh, I got the audio on, so you probably can't hear me. There we go. We might have to be stealing some ideas from this set as far as Northern goes, because that is so sick, dude. Look at the jukebox in front of this dude.
Sweet.
That is so badass. All right, but to finish it off, let's take a look at this interactive website, because Trevor, honestly, this is what really throws it all together. So when you load up this website, this screen is what you're greeted by.
It looks like the 90s.
Am I going to play Minesweeper right now? So here, let's go through it. I don't think you can see my cursor on the video side of things. Where is my mouse? I absolutely lost it. There it is. I don't think you can see my cursor, but we'll go through it. We hit start. The dial-up?
Yeah.
What? Sorry for headphone users. This is my first time doing this, actually. I didn't do it until we got on the show. I did not know those sounds were coming, so I apologize, but that adds to the experience if you're watching this. Look at this website.
It's so...
This might have been more work than the actual set design for the video. This is chock full of content.
So cool.
They built out a whole aesthetic for this brand new website.
This is such a, like, who came up with all these ideas? Like, this is unreal.
No, like we would go to the jersey. It takes us right down here. All the details.
Looks like a catalog. Like, I'm going to go buy these.
We're going to go get 2 of them?
Yeah.
For the studio? Oh my goodness.
Those helmets look so good.
They're incredible, dude. This is the best piece of NFL advertising
have, like,
marketing that I've ever
on
seen.
Look at that. They even have like the history of the uniform on there.
That's really good. And it's all laid out in a way that it probably would have been.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. At the bottom there, just throwback with a little funny little NFL GIF. They definitely custom made for this.
Yeah.
Just kudos, man. I mean, I might actually after this just, ditz around with this and see what's all on here. It's so neat. Oh, even these little like Internet Explorer ads. Like, what? That's hilarious. This
Throwback
retro, like,
gear.
yeah. Which, by the way, I'm sure that's all real gear,
Oh,
right?
yeah,
That they're
for
probably is part of the launch too, not just the jerseys. The Kingdome. There it is. That's the old stadium. That's what it's called, the Kingdome. So that's what they kind of remade there. Awesome stuff. Like, absolutely awesome stuff from the Seahawks. But that was a great episode. I think we're about wrapped. We should be, I don't know, like 50 minutes, so
Sweet.
It's pretty good. Nothing too crazy. Yeah, we got everything right. Yeah. Cool. Thanks for tuning in. Division I Rejects will be back on Tuesday next week with a linebacker from West Texas A&M, a preseason All-American. Get excited for it. I am.